Well, hello there. It's a great day to be out and about. So why am I in the kitchen? Because I'm going to be out and about later, and what I want to do is get a nice meal ready to roll. So when my wife and I come back in, we don't have to cook. So what I'm making today is a deconstructed chicken pot pie. So it's really like a chicken pot pie casserole. You say deconstructed because it has no crust. This is super easy, relatively inexpensive, and it's nice because you have all these things in your cupboard, or you can, so you don't have to worry about planning ahead a lot and getting a lot of fresh ingredients that sometimes you don't get around to making them and they go bad. So what will you need to make this? You need 2 cans of cream of chicken soup, condensed soup. I've got 2 cans here, 10.5 ounce. And you're going to go ahead, I've already emptied them. You're going to go ahead and just empty that into a bowl like that. You're going to need 2 cans of just chicken. This is, I have 2 different kinds here, but it's essentially the same thing. It's just chicken breast in a can. It's like tuna fish, almost. You will find these in your grocery store where your tuna fish is. And then whatever kind of vegetables you want. To make it easy, I've got here, and I've already steamed these in the microwave. This is a steaming bag of peas and carrots, and this is a steam bag of whole kernel corn. I personally do not like the mixed vegetables that you can get in a bag because it has green beans in them, and I'm sorry, for me, green beans have to be fresh. I don't like them in the bag. So, but you can do whatever you want. If you don't mind those, you can just get the the mixed bag vegetables in a bag and steam them and be done with it. So these are about 5 minutes. You're going to do 5 minutes in your microwave on each bag. Do them separately. And you're going to need a stick of salted butter. Salted's okay too. If that's all you got, it's fine. And you're going to need some breadcrumbs. I've got just regular plain breadcrumbs. I've got some in a measuring cup. You're really going to eyeball that, so there's no need to really be too picky about the measuring. I just stuck them in a cup so you could see them better. I actually chose to put in some potatoes. You don't have to, because potatoes, I don't know if there's like frozen potatoes in a bag like the corn is. I've never seen that. My wife and I happen to have a garden, and we have these little potatoes that we planted, and they have almost no skin. You just wash those up and cut them up, and you can see I've diced them up here. These are the potatoes. You can see some of them are really, that's one little potato. So I'm going to add those in. You do not have to do the potatoes if you don't want to. If you do the potatoes, you do have to boil those for, 10 minutes or so, depending on how small you cut the pieces. For chicken pot pie, I wanted them pretty small, so they boiled up pretty quickly. And you're going to need a casserole dish, something like this, and that's about it. The nice thing about this recipe is you can have these, the different vegetables in your freezer. You can have these cans of chicken in your cupboard, as well as the chicken soup. Everybody has butter, breadcrumbs. This is all stuff that will live in your freezer or your cupboards, for years. Well, I don't know if I believe them there for years, but in theory, you could leave them there for years, but at least weeks, months. So you can have this stuff on hand and pull it out whenever you want. And then when you assemble this, everything's cooked. So by the time you want to put this in the oven, you're really just warming it up and browning those breadcrumbs, which I'll show you later. So here's your, as I mentioned, your 2 cans of condensed cream of chicken soup. Now that is pretty thick. When I did this recipe before, I left it like this. My wife loved it. I thought it was a little thick. I happen to have some chicken broth that we use for a different recipe. So it's open, and give it a little shake. I'm going to use it just to thin this out a little bit. You could certainly use water, I'm sure. I'm just eyeballing this just to see, okay, I want it just a little bit thinner. Chicken broth is probably the best thing to use because you're going to not lose any chicken flavor while thinning it. Where with water, you might lose a little bit of flavor. So that still seems pretty thick. I'll just do a little bit more. I don't want to thin it out too much. You don't want your casserole to be thin and runny, obviously. So I'll probably stir that in, call it good. And now the next thing is just to add the chicken. So this is already, whoops, I got another spoon here. No, don't fall in. And you can just see, it's just pretty much already bits of chicken. So if there's any large bits, you could break them up. I'm not worried about it. And you can make, that's quite a bit of chicken. I opened 2 cans. I'm going to go ahead and use 2 cans. When I did this recipe before, I used, probably could have got away with 1 can, but whoops. When I did this recipe before, I used leftover rotisserie chicken, which is really great because, a lot of times we buy rotisserie chicken and like, what do? We don't eat it all at once. And then what do we do with all this extra chicken? So this is a great thing to do. You just have to obviously dice up your chicken if you're going to do this. So you're just mixing that all in now. So, you've got a nice base. Like I said, that's probably a decent thickness. You could possibly thin that out a little bit more, but I'm going to leave it like that. Next, again, I've already steamed these in the microwave. Most microwaves, you're going to be 5 minutes or so. I'm just going to go ahead and open these up. And you don't have to put them all in. This might be too much for this recipe, the whole bag, so we're just going to kind of see. Again, if you really like vegetables, well, you know what, that's pretty much all of them. I'm just going to dump them all in. Stir them up. And again, the beauty of this is you can customize this however you want. You want more peas, then you can just get steamed, a bag of peas. And actually, that's what I did previously. I didn't have peas and carrots, and I didn't have carrots. I had fresh carrots that I actually diced up, and I boiled those for a few minutes, just like I did with the potatoes. So again, I had just carrots, peas, and potatoes, and I didn't do the corn. Oops, I'm going to do the corn next. So the corn is something a little bit different as far as from what I did last time. So again, put in as much or little as you want. I mean, if you have extra, I don't know. I mean, these bags of steamed vegetables are literally under $1 each. So don't feel too bad if you don't use it all and some of it goes to waste. It's pretty cheap. I mean, I hate waste. For me, anything I don't use like this will just go to my chickens. I'm just going to dump it in. What the heck? I have chickens out in the backyard. We have 6 of them, and they love table scraps. I would always suggest, obviously, you look up what you feed your chickens before you feed it to them. There are things I had no idea chickens couldn't eat, like the tops off of strawberries. They can eat strawberries, but you got to cut the tops off first, so be careful. But they will eat almost anything. Just make sure it's safe for them. So there you go. That's your chicken pot pie filling. You've got your chicken soup, you've got your veggies, you've got your chicken. So let me get these out of the way. I'm just going to hit the microwave. Whoops. There we go. Sorry about that. The microwave is being a little stubborn because I'm finishing up melting the butter to add the breadcrumbs to it. So this is ready now to put into your casserole dish. And this does not need any prep. You do not need to grease this or anything like that. You just literally dump this on in. And this makes a lot. Actually, I think the ratios came out pretty good. So I think if you stick to what I said, you're going to be fine. Sorry, the microwave is beeping away at me. And obviously, you can cut this recipe in half if you're just by yourself, or if you don't need a lot. Obviously, like I said, you can certainly cut that in half. Oh, I forgot the potatoes. Silly guy. Well, you know what? I'm just going to sprinkle the potatoes on top. But doesn't that look good? That looks just like chicken pot pie, doesn't it? And it's, relatively fresh-ish frozen vegetables, but that's okay. I'm gonna just leave it there. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and just kind of sprinkle my potatoes on. I didn't do a lot of potatoes anyway. I'm not gonna worry about mixing them in too much. By the time you're done with this, it's all just gonna be kind of mixed in. So again, pretty forgiving. I'll just kind of scooch those in a little bit like that. So all right, so that's good. That's done. So now that my butter is melted, I'm gonna just go grab that real quick, right here. All right, So let me just scooch that out of the way a little bit. So here is your 1 stick of melted butter. Okay, so this is going to be to make your breadcrumb topping. So I'm just eyeballing this. I don't really know how much I put in the last time, but it came out good. So this is 1 cup dry measure of breadcrumbs to 1 stick of butter. Let's see how this looks. Let's just dump that in and see if I think I need any more. You just want this to be kind of crumbly. You want it to be buttery, but crumbly a little bit. The butter obviously adds a little flavor, binds it together. And then when you pop this in the oven, it's going to help it brown up. I think I'm going to add just a touch more. That might have been slightly under a cup. So I'm just going to, again, just kind of eyeballing. It's roughly a cup to 1 stick of butter. So that's that. And let's go ahead and finish mixing up. Yeah, that looks good. And this couldn't be easier. Again, it's just butter and breadcrumbs. All right, that's about done. So let me bring this back, and again, we'll just kind of smooth that out. Gosh, it looks so good. And then, sometimes it's easier just to use your hands. That's why you make sure you wash your hands really good before you cook. You never know when you're just gonna have to dive in, right? So you're just gonna spread that around. And really, this is it. I mean, this is all there is to this. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna preheat your oven to about 350 degrees. And I'm not gonna put this in the oven now because this is for dinner. This is for later. I'm doing this in the afternoon. So yep, you could put more or less breadcrumbs on if you want. I like them, so I'm going to go ahead and use them all up. And that looks just about right. It looks like it's well covered. And so you're going to put this in the oven when you're ready. And so this can sit in the fridge for however long. Like I said, I'm doing this. I would imagine you could leave this for tomorrow if you wanted to. I'm just going to do this for a few hours. And so when we come back home later, we can just take this out of the fridge, pop it in your oven, preheated to 350. It's going to take 35 to 40 minutes or so to really heat everything up. Remember, all your ingredients are cooked, so you're not cooking anything. You're just heating it up, and you're getting these breadcrumbs with butter nice and brown. So again, that's it. That's all there is to it. It couldn't be easier. Obviously, you can add some different spices, salt, pepper, however you like. I tend to let people do that at the end with something like this, where you can easily salt your own serving if you like. And again, this is a really great way to get rid of chicken or even probably turkey leftovers to make a real simple pot pie. It's very inexpensive. Each can of chicken soup is like $1. The steamed vegetables are like $1 a bag. I mean, I probably spent $5 or $6 on this whole, well, using the canned chicken. Those cans of chicken, they're 12.5 ounces. Yeah, 12.5 ounces each. Those are about $3 a piece. So if you have leftover chicken, that's great. If you buy a rotisserie chicken and you don't use it all for your first meal, then it becomes much cheaper. Those cans of chicken, but still, so maybe $10. But this is a $10 for a homemade chicken pot pie casserole that will feed, as you can see, you're going to get 6 meals or so out of this. Unless you're a really big eater, maybe you get 5, but you'll get 6 healthy meals out of this. So it's economical, it's easy, it's quick, and it's delicious. So hope you enjoyed that. If you do, hit like, and I'll do some more.